from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
The results are coming in. Michigan in the national spotlight as voters hit the poll in maybe the key battleground state.
But we begin with the weather tonight. We've been telling you it's coming all day. Taking a live look at Exact Track 40 radar, it shows the severe storms are finally pushing into Metro Detroit here. And what a difference a few hours can make, because after setting those record-breaking temperatures, a powerful storm could bring heavy winds and golf ball-sized hail to some areas. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm Kimberly Gill.
I'm Devin Skilling. Start things off here on Local 4 News at 11 with forewarned meteorologist Kim Adams with a look at our updated timetable. It's a pretty quick-moving storm, you said earlier, Kim.
These are very fast-moving storms. They're moving to the northeast at 45 miles per hour, and they are right on time in Lenawee County here at 11 o'clock, also in Monroe County. Now, this area of storms has not popped severe yet. It has not reached severe limits, but it doesn't mean it's not strong. Moving to the northeast at 45 miles per hour. It's affecting Adrian, Blissfield, Ida, and Monroe. So let's do some storm tracking now for you as these storms move to the northeast. Blissfield hitting it now, also Adrian, Tecumseh at 11:11, Dundee 11:17, London 11:23, Saline 11:29, and Carlton at 11:34. We've been tracking these storms for the last several hours. Still powerful out to the west. We have multiple severe thunderstorm warnings, and now this is a tornado warning just outside of Kalamazoo on the west side of the state. There was a confirmed tornado just outside of Chicago at about 9:30 tonight. We've had multiple tornado warnings out to the west, all tied to this same system. So what that tells me is that this system is capable and the atmosphere is ripe for tornado development. Now, it would be isolated here, especially by the time the storms really get into Metro Detroit, but we could still see that happen. So strong storms between 11 and 2 a.m. Then tomorrow, light rain turns over to a few snowflakes as we have dramatically falling temperatures. Severe thunderstorm watch is in effect for just Livingston and Washtenaw counties until 5 a.m., but we will have strong thunderstorms all over southeast lower Michigan, and most of them will come if you're planning on going to bed after the news. Keep that forewarned weather app handy. If you keep your phone on and you don't put it on silent, if there is a severe thunderstorm warning, I know it's a little shocking to wake up to, but it can protect you and keep you safe. So that forewarned weather app will put a pin right where you live, and if there's a warning for your area and your neighborhood, that app will let you know.
And, of course, the forewarned weather team, Kim, will be tracking the storm throughout the night. Ashley Barrissey will be here when you wake up to give you the most accurate information. Join us starting at 4:30 a.m. for the very latest. All right, no surprises tonight as the results trickle in for Michigan's presidential primary.
Within the last hour or so, NBC News calling both races, setting up a possible rematch between President Biden and former President Donald Trump this November. On the Democratic side, President Biden cruising to victory with about 79% of the vote there, 80% now. That's 25% of the precincts reporting. A big topic of discussion has been the role of the uncommitted voter. 15% voted in this primary, something our Mar McDonald is going to be talking about a little bit more in just a minute.
Over on the Republican side, former President Donald Trump set to pick up another victory over former South Carolina governor, former UN ambassador Nikki Haley. Donald Trump, 67% of the vote. This with about a quarter of the vote in to Nikki Haley's now at 28%. So Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson also in Detroit tonight at the Pistons Performance Center, where many of the ballots cast at the precincts across the city are being counted right now.
She made a point to say this election was not only smooth and secure, but different from any other election in the state's history. Listen.
This is the first election that we've had 3 options for citizens to vote. They could vote early in person, they could vote from home, mailing their ballot in or dropping it off, and they could vote, if they chose instead, at polls today on Election Day. As a result of these pre-election day options, as many of you know, over 1 million citizens in Michigan had cast their ballots before any polls opened today. And we're still waiting on final overall turnout numbers for the state. But we do know that nearly 2,000 eligible Michigan citizens registered to vote today and voted at their clerk's office.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, some of those votes made the choice to vote uncommitted this election.
That's a move that was driven by a number of Arab Americans who want to send a message to President Biden to withdraw U.S. money and support from Israel and demand an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Mara McDonald live in Dearborn tonight. They did surpass the 10,000 to 15,000 votes that they were saying was going to be their benchmark for success, Mara.
Devin, they sure did. I mean, the last time I looked at the numbers that are rolling out of the state, we're talking about 37,000 votes so far. But however, let's put this into some context. Like our pollster has been saying all night on Local 4 Plus, it's about the percentage. You know, it is not uncommon to have, say, 11% uncommitted in a primary here in Michigan. Well, if you look at these numbers as they're rolling right now, we're talking between 14 to 15% uncommitted. That's substantial. That means that if it hits that 15% mark, they're going to get delegates. You can tell that the performance of that uncommitted vote that has been driven by a grassroots Palestinian American effort, as well as the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, that it has put some wind in their sails. Take a listen.
The votes tonight for uncommitted send a clear message to President Biden that Michigan Democrats are uncommitted to President Biden and his re-election, and this is a warning sign. It's a threat to Biden and his administration as a result of his decisions to put funding Israel's war in Gaza over our own democracy. And this voting bloc within Michigan, let me stamp that we are uncommitted to you, President Biden, and your re-election efforts. That Biden, you must support a lasting ceasefire and stop funding Israel's war in Gaza.
I want to say something else to the president. I don't understand why we would let the current prime minister of Israel set the bounds of the possible.
That's right. Yes. That's right. That's right.
This is not acceptable. This is a person who has never been for a just peace. This is a person who has never been for self-determination for the Palestinian people. And there is no hope for security and peace for the Jewish people without security and peace and freedom and justice for the Palestinian people.
Back here live. So really, in the grand scheme of things, what does this uncommitted vote mean? Well, Michigan is a must-win for President Biden. There's no question there. His electoral math counts on this state. The polling suggests that it is going to be a hotly contested race here. He only beat former President Trump in this state in 2020 by a little over 2.5%. What happens in November if you have a substantial voting bloc of people who decide to sit on their hands? I can tell you we're going to see a whole lot of the president, of his surrogates. We're going to see a whole lot of former President Trump as well rolling through Michigan in the coming months. We are live in Dearborn tonight. I'm Mara McDonald, Local 4.
Yeah, a lot to chew on there. All right, Mara. Now, we've got the full results from the primary right now over at clickondetroit.com.
Our election coverage continues tomorrow morning on Local 4 and Local 4 Plus. We'll be joined by political strategists to discuss the results and what this means come the general election. Plus, we're also breaking down the important role Michigan plays in election season. Our coverage begins at 4:30 tomorrow morning.
Christina Caramo is officially out as chair of the Michigan Republican Party. Judge Joseph Rossi ruled there were enough votes to unseat Caramo in the special meeting of the party state committee. That news comes on the same day Michigan holding its primary election. The decision means former state representative, former ambassador Pete Hoekstra is the next in line to take over. He is now chair of the Michigan Republican Party. Caramo says the judge's decision is grossly unfair. A road rage situation ends in gunfire in Macomb County.
This happened during the evening rush at the intersection of Shaner and Hall Road in Sterling Heights. Jacqueline Francis is live with more on what happened. Jacqueline.
Kimberly and Devin, two women were shot, a mother and her adult daughter. That adult daughter is in critical condition tonight. So they were in one car. In the other car, police say, was a female driver who had a permit to carry a concealed weapon.
This was the aftermath of a road rage incident that ended in gunfire. Sterling Heights police say around 5 Tuesday evening, the two cars were driving on Hall Road near Shaner. In the white Durango was a female driver with a permit to carry a concealed weapon. In the red Jeep, a mother and her adult daughter. Police say they were involved in a road rage situation when the Durango turned off the road into a parking lot of a shopping area. The red car followed, where there was a confrontation.
In the mix of that, the one vehicle that had the one female driver in it, she had a valid CPL. Ultimately, she opened fire on the mom and daughter, and they were both struck.
Mom had non-life-threatening injuries. The daughter is in critical condition. Police say the driver who fired the shots stayed on scene for investigators to arrive and has been cooperative with the investigation. Police have released her for the time being as they continue to look into what happened. But their advice to others is this.
It's just not worth it, right? Any driving offense, you're going to get into an argument with somebody. You don't know what that person has been going through, what's going on. You don't know if they're armed, and nothing is worth, risking your life over or risking going to jail over.
Because this is an ongoing investigation, it's unclear right now what, if any, charges will be brought against the driver. We'll continue to follow it. Reporting live, Jacqueline Francis, Local 4.
Wow. Okay, Jacqueline, thank you.